In the foundation section of this Mixed Design ANOVA chapter, I conducted a series of one-way within subjects ANOVAs in order to evaluate the possibility that I could interpret the omnibus main effect associated with the within subjects factor. I did a separate one-way within subjects ANOVA testing the equality of these means, and then I did another one-way within subjects ANOVA testing the equality of these means, and I found that the null hypothesis was rejected for this test, but not this test with the discussion therapy group, so only the CBT group. And here are those one-way within subjects ANOVAs. I did them as two separate one-way within subjects ANOVAs. With respect to this video, the important thing to note is that the mean square errors are estimated separately for each one-way within subjects ANOVA. And I mentioned in the textbook that separately estimated error terms is not entirely consistent with the ANOVA framework, particularly a factorial ANOVA, which is based on pooled error terms. Fortunately, in SPSS, you can get one-way within subjects ANOVAs that are based on pooled error terms. Now, the vast majority of people won't go this far with their analyses. They'll stop with just using the quick and dirty approach with separate ANOVAs and separate error terms. But if you want to do the extra work and get the pooled error term approach, then you can do that. What you're going to have to do is open up a syntax file, File, New Syntax, and in the textbook I give you syntax for this example, and you can manipulate it to be consistent with whatever variables you're working with. So here's the syntax. It's MANOVA, pre-treatment, post-treatment, follow-up. Those are the three levels of the within subjects factor, and I'm getting it by group, so group 1 and group 2, CBT and discussion group. Then I have to specify within subjects factors, and there are three levels in the associated with the time factor, and then design within group 1, within group 2. So if you just copy and paste that, place it in the syntax window, make sure that you only have one data file open, which is your data file. In this case, it's the one with the pre-treatment, post-treatment, follow-up, and grouping variables, and then click Run. And here are the results associated with the pooled error term one-way within subjects ANOVAs. If you scroll right to the bottom of the output, you'll see within group by time, group 1, that's CBT, and we can see that there's a statistically significant effect. So it's rejected the null hypothesis of equal means across the three levels of the within subjects factor. So these means are not all equal to each other on the basis of the pooled error term approach to conducting the one-way within subjects ANOVA. By contrast, when examining the discussion group, it was not found to be statistically significant. F equaled 0.91, P equaled 0.408. These results are not terribly different to what was observed in the separately estimated ANOVAs. I'll just take a snapshot of that. And then I'll scroll up to the separately estimated ANOVAs. So the separately estimated ANOVA, just the CBT group across time, pre-test, post-test, follow-up, F14.593, whereas the pooled error term identified F12.40, which would be technically more accurate. With respect to the discussion group, the three means across time, F value of 0.789, by comparison, the pooled error term approach 0.91. So we come up with the same conclusions. That won't always be the case. Sometimes you'll get a significant result when doing it the pooled error term, and sometimes you won't, and it'll be inconsistent with the separately estimated approach. As I mentioned in the textbook, most people will probably let you get away with the separately estimated approach, but technically it's more accurate to use the pooled error term approach, and it's really not that difficult. Just make sure that you have the variable names accurate, consistent with your own data file, and your groups are specified accordingly. You've got the levels specified properly, and you also have the time factor named. So that is how you can do pooled error term approaches to one-way within subjects ANOVAs